why your child can't solve problems without you. Hi, welcome to BabyBites. Mommy, Jake pushed me. Teacher, she won't let me sit there. Daddy, it's not fair. Sound familiar? If your child runs to you or to a teacher every single time something goes even slightly wrong, you are not alone. And honestly, it makes complete sense that they do it. But here's the thing, if we keep being the ones who fix everything, we might actually be making things harder for them in the long run. Today, we're going to talk about why kids rely so heavily on adults to solve their small conflicts, what's really going on underneath all that tattling, and most importantly, how you can gently guide them to start thinking for themselves using something called energy-giving phrases. Let's get into it. So, why do kids tattle so much? First, let's just take a breath and appreciate something. When your child runs to you and says, "He hit me," or "She took my pencil," that is actually a sign that they trust you. They believe you can help. They feel safe coming to you. That's not a bad thing. That's actually beautiful. Seeking help is a skill. We want our kids to know they can come to us. But here's where it gets tricky. The problem isn't that they ask for help. The problem is when asking for help becomes the only tool in their toolbox, when they never stop to think, what can I try first? And a big part of why that happens is us. I know, that's a hard thing to hear, but think about it. Every time your child comes to you with a conflict and you immediately step in and fix it, you solve the argument, you talk to the other child, you tell them exactly what to say, what is your child learning? They're learning, I don't need to figure this out. Mom or dad will handle it. And that lesson gets reinforced every single time, over and over again. Until one day they're 9, 10, 11 years old, and they still don't know what to do when a friend is being unkind, or when something feels unfair on the playground, or when they're left out of a group, because no one ever let them practice the real danger of always fixing it. Here's a scenario I want you to imagine. Your child comes home from school, clearly upset. They tell you their best friend didn't save them a seat at lunch, and they're devastated. Now, the instinct, the very natural, loving parental instinct is to say, "Oh, that's awful. I'll talk to the teacher," or maybe I'll message that child's mom. And maybe that feels like the right move. You're protecting your child. You're advocating for them. But what did your child just learn? They learned that when social situations feel hard and uncomfortable, the solution is to find a grown-up who will make the discomfort go away. And that's a really fragile way to move through the world. Because here's the truth, not every teacher will step in. Not every situation has a grown-up nearby. And as our kids get older, the social dynamics get so much more complicated. The quiet exclusions, the friendship fallouts, the group chats, these are things that adults genuinely cannot fix for them. So if we haven't given them the skills to navigate conflict on their own, we've actually left them quite unprepared. What can we do instead? Energy-giving phrases. Okay, so here's the good news. You don't have to stop being there for your child. You don't have to shut the door and say, "Figure it out yourself." That's not what this is about at all. What we want to do is stay warm, stay present, but shift the thinking back to them. And we do that through what I love to call energy-giving phrases. These are simple, gentle questions and responses that don't dismiss your child's feelings, but they also don't hand over the answer. Instead, they invite your child to think. Let me give you some examples. When your child runs in and says, "Ella won't play with me. She's being so mean." Instead of immediately saying, "I'll go talk to Ella," try saying, "Can you tell me what happened from the beginning?" That's it, just that. You're not fixing, you're listening, and you're asking them to organize their own thoughts. Then, after they've told you, you might say, "How do you think Ella was feeling in that moment?" Now this is where the magic starts to happen, because you're asking your child to step outside of their own experience and consider someone else's perspective. Or try this one. What do you think would be fair for both of you? Not what do you want, but what would be fair for both of you. That one small word, both, quietly teaches your child that other people's feelings matter too. And if they're really stuck, you can say, "What's one thing you could try before asking for help?" You're not abandoning them. You're right there, but you're handing the thinking back to them. You're saying, I believe you're capable of working through this. The hardest skill, seeing through someone else's eyes. Now, I want to spend a moment on perspective taking because I think it's the most important skill and the hardest one to teach. We live in a world where our kids are often at the center of a lot of love and attention. Many families have one child, maybe two. Grandparents, parents, aunties, uncles, everyone is focused on this one little person. And that's wonderful. But it can also mean that children grow up with a very strong sense of their own needs and a much weaker muscle for understanding other people's needs. So when a conflict happens at school, their first instinct is to see it entirely from their own point of view. She was mean to me. He took my turn. It wasn't fair. And they're not wrong to feel that way. Their feelings are real and valid, but what they're missing is the other half of the story. When we ask, how do you think they felt? We're not asking our child to excuse bad behavior. We're asking them to expand their understanding of the world. And this skill, the ability to hold your own perspective and someone else's at the same time, this is something that even adults are still working on. So be patient with your child. Be patient with yourself. It's a practice, not a destination. A quick word on tone. One last thing I want to mention, and this really matters. All of these energy-giving phrases only work if they're delivered with warmth. If you say, "What do you think you should do?" in a tired, frustrated, dismissive tone, your child will feel shut down, not empowered. But if you sit down, make eye contact, and genuinely, curiously ask, what do you think you could try? That feels completely different. The words matter, but the energy behind the words matters even more. Let's wrap up. So to bring it all together, your child tattles and runs to you because they trust you and because they haven't yet learned that they have the ability to work things out. Our job isn't to fix every conflict. Our job is to be a safe, warm presence that gently guides them back to their own thinking. Ask them what happened. Ask them how the other person might have felt. Ask them what they think is fair. Ask them what they could try first. And then mine is trust them, because they're more capable than we sometimes give them credit for. If this resonated with you today, I'd love for you to give this video a like. It really does help more parents find this content. And if you're not subscribed yet, come join our little community here on BabyBites. We talk about all things child development, emotions, and parenting in a way that's real, warm, and actually fits into your busy day. I'll see you in the next one. Take care of yourself because you really are doing a wonderful job. Bye for now.